Welcome back into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. Less than 24 hours since the start of our live stream. We are back live once again, helping recap week one between the Cowboys and the Eagles. We'll do some mailbag, which, sometimes it's therapy sessions after losses. I don't know if therapy is actually needed for this particular matchup for the Cowboys. They exceeded expectations. I mean, the spread was 8.5 at kickoff, and they cut that in half. So they exceeded it, but not good enough in the end. I want you guys to grade the Cowboys for me against the Eagles, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comment section of today's show how you feel the Cowboys did against Philadelphia. A, B, C, D, or F. We'll give some shout-outs here as these votes come in. Favorable Tester says B. Brandon Brimer, however you pronounce it, says B-. Eddie Ramirez has a B. Brendan Dranaski has a C. Keep the votes coming. How would you grade the Cowboys against Philadelphia? I think relative to expectations, probably a B, but still a loss. So I'm not sure I can truly give them a B in the end. Big Thad 24 says B. Jason Phillips, B+. Brent Workman says B+. Keep the grades coming. A, B, C, D, or F. How do you feel the Cowboys did against the Eagles? We'll check in on this one throughout the show. We did it as the pin poll last night, obviously, too. Or I guess technically that was this morning, actually, from when the game ended and when we flipped it. So maybe it's not quite that one. A, B, C, D, or F. No Fs yet, but B, C, B-, B. Plenty of Bs in there. B for better, maybe is a good answer, but keep the votes coming. A, B, C, D, or F. Christopher has B-. Z Williams has a B+. Jeffrey S. has a B as well. This is the Super Chat menu for today's live show. Any Super Chat, as always, will get you a shout-out here on the Cowboys Report. $5 gets you a raffle entry into our to-be-determined Week 2 giveaway. Already got a bunch of those that came in from Super Thanks and late last night, etc. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 we'll do a straight shotty, no wheel spin for the regular live shows. $100 is a beer bong as well. So get those Super Chats in. We'll also give you guys a chance to grade Dak Prescott, which is always divisive. Individually, I think there's a right answer here. I'll hold off on my grade because we'll discuss the PFF grades as part of this conversation. Grade Dak against the Eagles. A, B, C, D, or F. See some good comments. I do think that the penalties were down. The pre-snap penalties. That's always a good sign. They need to keep that up and not have it be a one-off thing or have a couple good games of fun offense. Then they regress to run, and not doing it well. I've seen it with Kellen before too. Favorable Tester says A. Brandon Brimer says B+. Jason has an A. Jeffrey S. says B. Z Williams says A. Brendan says B. Ramon says A-. Keep the comments coming. Keep the grades coming for Dak Prescott against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, yeah, I guess I do need 2 pregame Eagles there. It should fit. Put the 2 before the pre. That's my bad. B, A-. See BR in there. Not sure what BR is. B+, B+, B. So mostly high grades on that front. Pronounce the I. Okay, so Brimer. Okay, hopefully I'm saying that right. If not, I feel really bad about it. But, sorry, Brandon, if I get it wrong. I don't have pronunciation guides in front of me for players, and it kind of causes some issues every now and then. But I appreciate you watching here. Appreciate everyone who's locked in for the Cowboys Report, the Week 1 breakdown, so to speak. $5 Super Chat from Uology, a.k.a. Jace. How much for you to give Chase the greatest tortilla slap of the channel's history for his blatant nonsense on the Dak Jalen Carter issue? He's an Eagles fan. Like, it's how it goes. Like, I'm actually unbothered by it. Like, we have all of the angles. We can see Jalen Carter closer to the Cowboys huddle than his own huddle, or right in between. Dak spits on the ground. Jalen Carter comes up to him. Carter spits in his face. Like, there's not going to be a suspension for Jalen Carter. I think that'd be stupid. Like, he doesn't deserve one. Like, there's no need for it. He missed the entire game. Like, Dak baited Carter, baited the hothead, and it worked. It's fine. If the roles were reversed, if Osa Odigizua and Jalen Hurts did the exact same thing, not going to be mad at Hurts. He played the game right, and Osa was the one who screwed up. Like, it's It's my mindset. So thank you, Jace. I appreciate that. I don't know. I'll talk to Chase, see if there's a tortilla slap amount in mind. Maybe we'll do it for we'll both be busy for most of the games. Maybe draft time. We can do it. All right, how you feel compared to how you felt before the Eagles game. So before kickoff versus how you feel now, how do you feel as a Cowboys fan? B for better, W for worse, S for the same. B, W, or S. 76% say they feel better in the pinned poll right now. 2% say they feel worse. 23% the same. That's pretty good ratio. I think the majority of us agree. We definitely don't feel worse than we did going into it. I thought the Cowboys overall had a very strong performance relative to expectations. I think there were plenty of good things to build on from that game. They still need to build on them. I do want to emphasize that part. It's all for naught if you end up playing 8 close games and you lose them all against good teams. That's not what you're aiming for either. But I do think there's plenty to build off of from that matchup. So B for better, at W for worse, S for the same. It is currently 76, 2%, 22% for better, worse, the same. Keep those votes coming. And if you haven't already, like the video on today's live stream. A very rare Friday afternoon, evening live show for you because I'm not going to be doing any Cowboys stuff Saturday, Sunday. So we'll get some cuts on that front. So if you want more Cowboys videos, do me a favor and like this one. Then we will get to GH24's Super Chat here in just a second. Goal was always that 50% like ratio. We're not quite there on that front, even though it would be quite nice to get there. So like the video if you haven't already done so. We're at about a third of the likes, maybe about 50% of the likes. GH24 into our raffle for week 2. Got a long way to go on that one. I guess we can lock it on the Giants and the Commanders this one on Sunday. Well, I'll be watching a lot of games because I'm a sick person. This Dak played awesome yesterday. That fumble tackle was crazy effort. I kind of wish PFF had graded the defensive tackle because it's like a +2, right? That's how they do their grading. I thought Dak played really well. We'll get into some of the numbers. It's the raw stats don't show it at all, but we have 4/5, which the Ferguson one doesn't count because it was a flag on the play anyway. I thought Dak played really well. I think you'd be hard-pressed to truly blame him for the loss. Not that there's still something he can't be better on, but John says Dak would be our best linebacker. I mean, Dak's kind of he's shed some of the weight, but Mississippi State Dak was kind of built. He was kind of built. All right, coming up here on today's show, we'll do some PFF grades reaction for you on today's show. We'll break down not every single grade, but we will mention some of the more notable / intriguing ones I want to get to here. A mailbag, 2 ways to get on that. Use #Cowboys. Skip the line altogether via Super Chat like GH and Muology, a.k.a. Jace, have already done. And we will break down some positives coming out of Week 1. We'll call it some news on that front. All coming up live here on the Cowboys Report. Coming up on this edition of the Cowboys Report, the PFF Pro Football Focus grades are out. Want to try something different and just react to some of the notable grades. It's not going to be the boring conversation of here's what player did, here's what players C got graded as. We'll do some of their advanced stats as well. Spend some time discussing what I like, what I don't like on the grades front. There's plenty to discuss in this particular matchup, which I do think is worth having that conversation on and mentioning. So we'll dive into that. Before we get to it, though, on today's show, I don't think there's going to be a push notification on this on-demand version of the Cowboys Report because we went live twice within 24 hours, had 2 VODs, so there's not going to be a push. So help us out. Share today's video on social media. Spread the word to your friends that the latest Cowboys Report is out. All right, so Dak Prescott, looking at his early stats, just the raw stats, they do not jump off the screen. 61.8% completion rate, that's not very good. 188 yards. That doesn't really move the needle much for you either. 5.5 yards per attempt. That's kind of meh. Like, who cares about that? But I think this very clearly was an eye test game for Dak Prescott, who had about double the average depth of target that Jalen Hurts did, by the way. Overall grade, this is all per PFF, 90. Passing was 86.1. Rushing was 65.6. 4 big-time throws, which, you know how PFF likes to define the opinionated big-time throw stuff there. The adjusted completion percentage, when you take out the drops, what it should be, 78.1%. He actually still had, by the way, I'm pretty sure it was on Next Gen Stats, a positive completion percentage over expectation, which is really rare when you have 4 drops. Like, normally that actually drops it because the completion percentage was incomplete. That shows you how accurate he was in that game. Under pressure, Dak Prescott, also very impressive. 9 of 12, 83 yards, 6.9 yards per attempt. If we're being honest, he probably should have had a touchdown mixed in there if some of his receivers could have held on to balls. Should have been even higher. Technically, that bomb to CeeDee Lamb that was dropped was also under pressure. Like, I thought he played incredibly well in this game. The raw stats do not show it, but the eye test absolutely does. And you can go back and watch some of the All-22. The clips are out there because Next Gen Stats, NFL Pros done a good job of that lately, getting it up sooner. I thought Dak Prescott played a hell of a game in Week 1. He also happened to have your best tackle, I feel like, of the entire game on the touchdown-saving fumble after Miles Sanders, who we'll kind of discuss on today's show. I thought Dak played very, very well against the Philadelphia Eagles. Coming off the injury, sure didn't look like it. Runs like an old man still, but it's fine when you're accurate and making what should be plays made downfield if they weren't dropped. So grade Dak Prescott for me against the Eagles. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comment section, at the pinned comment actually, of today's show. A, B, C, D, or F. Let's go to the offensive line grades. And these are, again, per PFF, the overall in order of the highest graded players. Cooper Beebe got a 70.4. Terrence Steele, a 64.5. Tyler Smith, 62.4. Tyler Booker, who struggled at times with some stunts. That's just what he needs to be a little bit better at there. What surprised me was Tyler Guyton was actually the lowest graded offensive player for the Dallas Cowboys at 42.2 overall. The PFF dinged him for 5 hurries in this game. Now, I went back and watched every single Tyler Guyton pass protection rep this morning when I had time, and I did have about 5 hurries as well, so I in the moment, it didn't feel like 5 hurries. I did go back, and I'm like, okay, there's 1 hurry, there's another. There were also, I think, part of why Guyton got dinged on the grades. Honestly, I thought he got away with 2 holding penalties. I thought there were 2 different plays in which I'm like, oh, okay, that should have been holding, where Guyton's kind of like on the ground, almost on the ground. He's got his arms around the waist. Like, I think they're dinging him for that. I thought the run blocking probably could have been a little bit better. Terrence Steele had, I think, maybe one of the more notable beats. But when I went back and watched it, I remember the one play where Steele gets beat to the inside and Dak has to check it down real quick. I'm like, that was a bad play. And then the other play where the entire right side of the offensive line collapses. I think both of them were actually on Booker because they were stunts / he should be helping Steele and kind of caught Steele off guard. I still think 42.2 is a little bit low. I thought relative expectations in the moment, didn't notice Guyton getting smoked. That's a good thing, by the way. The lowest graded Cowboys, of note, Jay Tolia. Maybe a surprise on that. Handful of snaps for him. But we'll talk about the interior run defense later. I thought it was pretty good, so I might just ignore it, frankly. We'll talk about Kenneth Murray, Guyton, Sanborn, Solomon Thomas among the lower ones as well. Look, I saw the hurries for Guyton after the rewatch. I don't think the worst graded player on offense is fair for Guyton. I would probably just give that to Miles Sanders. He had the great run and the fumble, and you never should have gotten caught from behind on that front, and that was a pretty big red flag there. So I know Guyton graded out bad on PFF. If that's a bad game for him, I think we'll probably take that. Dak holds the ball a half second longer. Maybe we feel differently, but I thought he did just fine in the end. Today's show is made possible by Chubbies, with bold designs featuring your favorite NFL teams like the Cowboys. Chubbies game day gear isn't just comfortable, it's a statement. Rep your team's logos in wildly comfortable polos like the one I am rocking today, wave-making swim trunks, and gym-ready mesh shorts. You heard that right. Swim trunks with your favorite NFL team's logo on them. All the comfort and swagger you need to take on every touchdown dance, chest bump, or dramatic fourth quarter meltdown. I'm not the biggest jersey guy. This is an elite's alternative because you are able to still rock your team and look comfortable in the process. For a limited time, folks, our friends at Chubbies are giving you $10 off with promo code CHATSPORTS at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. That's $10 off your order with promo code CHATSPORTS, and that does include the NFL collection. Not always how it works, but you can get $10 off the NFL collection over on at Chubbies right now. Support our show. Tell them we sent you. Express yourself and level up your game day wardrobe with Chubbies. That's chubbyshorts.com/chatsports and use code CHATSPORTS for $10 off. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Let's go to Kenneth Murray here. And I want to, how do I phrase this? I want to be fair. But some of the stuff that I saw from Kenneth Murray, I think very much does match what I saw in his time with LA, in his time with Tennessee, where he often is around the football. He was tied for the team lead with 9 tackles. I don't think he played that great, though. 30.1 overall grade, one of the lowest graded Cowboys players, second lowest. The run defense wasn't good. Only 62.3 tackle, it's fine. Pass rush, whatever. Coverage wasn't that great either. I think part of why that run defense grade is low is the quarterback scrambles. That was a huge issue for the Cowboys. They were able to get the Eagles into a couple different third downs, and Hurts repeatedly find a way to get out to the pocket, make the scrambles happen. 1 missed tackle, fine in coverage, 3 targets, 3 catches, 2 first downs. I'm not going to – that's fine for me. But I think that a lot of those runs the Eagles were successful on, I don't know if Kenneth Murray was always in the spot that he needed to be. And that's concerning for me. Like, I don't know why honestly, like, I look at this linebacking core in general, and I thought that they just weren't good enough. That they didn't do enough positive things in the overall unit between Kenneth Murray, between Jack Sanborn, between all of those players to justify the impact you needed out of that linebacking core. You needed more from them. Especially when you're going to do those hook zones, those soft zones, like that, you have to be able to do better at the guard spot. Or at the linebacker spot. And I don't think Kenneth Murray played well enough. I don't know if the grade is as low as it should be, but that is still worth mentioning. I would almost argue that Leofau has to be playing on this linebacking core, and I don't care which one you pull off the field, but it should be Leofau out there. So what is your confidence level in the Cowboys defense? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Let me know how you feel about this Dallas Cowboys defense. Let's do a positive one here. I was actually pretty impressed by Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson. Maybe a slight concern for your defense overall that, as it turns out, these were your 2 highest graded players. But overalls in the 70s, run defense in the 70s, tackle grades were high, the coverage grades were okay. Again, the Eagles typically feasted on the one big play to Jahan Dotson and a lot of short stuff. The Cowboys' safeties executed the game plan. It's not the safety's fault the quarterback's getting 5 yards on 3rd and 3. I tend to blame the linebackers just from where they're at on the field. I need to see more impact plays. That's what separates a good game, a fine game, from a great game. But I thought overall, like, the safeties did some pretty good stuff. In fact, they were 2 of your 5 highest graded Cowboy players by PFF. Dak Prescott not including special teams, because Aubrey should just get 100 every single game, frankly. I didn't even look at the special teams grades. Let me do that right now. Somehow Aubrey's not, which doesn't make any sense to me. I guess they gave him that makes no sense. I guess they don't, a 70.4 on field goals, which makes no sense because he made all of them. That's why I don't do special teams grades. Dak got 90. Revan Ford, who did a good job blocking on a few reps, 83.6. Hooker, Wilson, and then Marshawn Kneeland, who we'll get to more in depth here in just a second. Who impressed you the most in week 1 for the Dallas Cowboys? Which player had the best game? Let me know in the comment section of today's show who impressed you the most. How about Marshawn Kneeland? He is the one who got the sack after all, and I thought again was a pretty good player against the run, which I think you need. You need one of these defensive ends to be a good run-stopping guy. And from a grades perspective, Kneeland's 73.1 there. The next highest graded defensive end against the run was actually Ezraku, who didn't play a lot against the run, right behind him at 72.2. But then you got to go all the way down to Sam Williams and James Houston, sub 60. It's not what you're looking for there. Like all of the Cowboys players, too many missed tackles in this matchup, only the one pressure. But I thought Kneeland, who kind of felt like, I'd have to go back and watch when the snaps happen, kind of felt like early on they realized, okay, let's get Kneeland out there more than Dante Fowler because he ended up playing more snaps, in particular, a lot more run defense snaps. Fowler had almost 3x the pass rush snaps. Fowler had almost double the run defense snaps. He did a good job. I think he gets some credit for the Cowboys' run defense beyond guys like Kenny Clark and Osa, et cetera, doing a good job there. Osa and Clark both had good games there too, to be clear. We'll have more Cowboys news and rumors and updates and watch parties and everything else in between. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Some week 1 pressures. This is the pressures and pressure rate I want to make note of. Sam Williams did lead the way with 5 pressures. That is very good. Got to finish some of those pressures. Hurts got away a couple times there. Osa had 4. If you're at 15%, you're doing a good job as a penetrator. Dante Fowler got some pressures, but again, the missed tackles were a pretty consistent issue for the Cowboys defense, especially in the first half. Solomon Thomas, who I thought was okay overall, got some pressures. Ezraku, Kneeland, need a little bit more from them. Only a handful of reps for those guys. It was 24 combined, so you need more than 1 every 12 pressures between them, but at least Kneeland got the sack on the one. Kenneth Murray, just the 1 pressure. Deron Bland, Trevon Diggs. Bland came 3 times. Diggs and Murray came 1. It didn't blitz at all in the first half, then finally did in the second half, and it worked and could have been a sack or 2 if Bland or Diggs can make those tackles. Kenny Clark didn't do a lot as a pass rusher, but again, you did a really good job. We'll discuss it on our future show about the interior of the run defense. I think Clark certainly deserves some credit on that front. Mailbag time. We're going to do 2 mailbags, by the way, on today's show. So we'll go to Jason real quick just for his $5 super chat. Unless there's a question I missed on Jason. Let me double check here. I don't see a question from Jason, so I think we're good. But we'll go to Jason's $5 super chat. Give you some love, Jason. I appreciate that. Getting you into our raffle, which you're already in for the super. Thanks, you did previously too, by the way. So Manny, Max, Finnegan, we'll get to your super chats as part of the mailbag as well. 2 ways to get on. Ask your question with #Cowboys. That way producer Aiden can find it and get it up on screen. Otherwise, there's a lot of questions and a lot of just there's no way we're going to find them. So like the wise ACH J-Dub just did, use #Cowboys or super chat. Guarantee you get yourself on the show with a super chat. Otherwise, it's up to producer Aiden's discretion, and we'll see if that ends up happening or not. William Cook got you in there as well. We'll get to that super chat during the mailbag, too. I'm just getting caught up on the entries here for the raffle because every $5 super chat will get you into our Week 2 raffle giveaway. Every $10 super chat gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 for a shot, $100 for a beer bong. That is the super chat menu on today's show. We'll hit some super thanks to begin today's video. Then we'll get into some of the super chats and the live comments as well. The Wise, you were in the raffle, I promise you. You might not have been able to see your name because there were 600 entries, but I promise you, you were in the raffle. I had you with actually several entries, not just even the 3. I had you with, I think, 7, something like that. So you were in the raffle. There were 700 names per race. So you might not have seen it, but I promise you were in there. I have done a good job of being able to track this stuff in the moment and not just leaving the chance. But I promise you, you were in there, and you're in for the Week 2 now as well. Mailbag time here on the Cowboys Report. First up, $5 from William Cook. Says, I think they improved in the area of penalties. No pre-snap or real stupid penalties. I think you're right. I think that stuff matters for the Cowboys. This has been one of the most penalty-laden team over the last several years, especially in the Mike McCarthy era. 4 for 42 versus 9 for 110. Now, we can get into the dirty secret of how the NFL typically has the underdog take less penalties, which I don't like, and there's benefits for the NFL as a league to have more competition, but the pre-snap stuff, you can't, like, it's either there or it's not, and the Cowboys weren't doing the false starts. We saw that in the first preseason game. I thought they were much better in that area. I think it's a great call-up by you as well. Reminder that every $5 super thanks gets you into our weekly raffles, so 5 gets you 1 entry, 10 gets you 3. Get those super chats in, or super thanks in. $5, you're entered into our jersey, or our TBD raffle for week 2. From Nick, Dak and Schotty have to be better at switching from Seeded to Pickens if one of them isn't firing on all cylinders switch. I get where you're coming from. Also, if Lamb's open, like, I'm going to throw it to him. Like, I think this team is, I expect my best player to make those plays. I don't have any issues doing that. CD has to catch it. Like, he just has to. If he doesn't, well, he spent a lot of time with the jugs machine today, apparently. Good. He has to make those plays. William Cook, a $2 super chat again, says, I just hope they get the Smith deal done without the drama. I agree. I don't know if that one is going to end up happening. It's kind of an awkward situation where I wonder if the total guaranteed money's been the root of the issue. There's nothing stopping you from doing it in season. You can do that. Agents typically don't, because once you enter the year, you're just kind of, okay, I've bet on myself already. I'm just going to ride it out, and you don't want it to be a distraction, whatever. I wouldn't be mad if they did it, though. I'd actually be pretty happy if the Cowboys went out and did that. I don't think there's been drama right now. That's good. If you get it done even before next March, like, I would consider that a win for the Cowboys. But in season specifically, will the Tyler Smith extension get done? Get those predictions in. Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comment, by the way, on today's video. So will the Tyler Smith deal get done? Y for yes, N for no. From Manny, a $5 super chat. Thank you, Manny. Can we go out and trade for a stud linebacker? Defensive line did excellent in the second half. Makes me feel better than having Parsons. They got some pressures in the second half, which is a big deal, and hopefully that continues against the not best offensive line in football, even though Dickerson did get banged up in that game. You can try to find a linebacker. You start throwing around a first-round pick, teams are going to be a lot more involved. I don't know if that's a good idea for the Cowboys, and then you don't have a third, so it gets a little bit complicated to find a way to make that work. You, in theory, might get a stud one back into Marvin Overshown, but I do think maybe give Leofau some more playing time. Maybe it just hurts, and that was the issue. But the linebackers I didn't think played well enough. I agree. Max Finnegan, a $10 super chat, a.k.a. Max Smash 73. Thank you, Max. Tom, I know this is an overreaction, but why is Sanders on the roster? He's supposed to be the Lightning to Williams Thunder, but he's clearly too slow, and he's only going to get worse with age. Yeah, you got caught by 4, 6, 5, whatever it was, Zach Bond from behind. Like, that needs to be a touchdown. You got to the hole. Terrence Steele, your pulling guards and Jake Ferguson give you a crease. You hit it. You do a great job there. It looked like he was laboring to run, and that just can't happen. Like, he could be on the roster, sure. Jaden Blue should be active. Like, if Jaden Blue can hit the hole properly, which maybe is a question, maybe it's not, he ain't getting caught by Zach Bond. That's 6, and the game is completely changed. You also can't fumble. So, like, both of those things were frustrating to me because the Cowboys never should have put themselves in that position. Sanders never should have put himself in that spot. It's overreaction to cut him, but, like, I think Jaden Blue should get a chance next week. Period. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. They invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Hope you guys took advantage of the Dak Prescott more than a half passing yard prize pick max discount. Here's one without Dak if you did not catch up on time. I got Jaden Daniels more than passing yards, Brian Thomas Jr. more than receiving yards for the Jags, and Justin Jefferson touchdown on Monday Night Football. Download the Prize Picks app today at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. William Cook. I think Flus did a good job making adjustments, gave him a chance. I agree. The defense was awful in the first half and pretty damn good in the second half. More than good enough to win that game for you. It's kind of funny how the two sides totally flipped for both teams, frankly. Weather delay maybe had a factor in that, I don't know. They brought some blitzes, and they worked. I appreciated that. He likes to blitz the nickels and the corners, and it worked with Diggs and Bland, and I like that stuff. I would like to see some more games and twists and stunts up front. That's not Flus's game. But I just think I watched the Eagles bring multiple different stunts, and it worked quite a bit against the Cowboys. I would like to bring stunts. I think that, especially on obvious passing downs. Now, maybe they were trying to be dedicated to keeping their rush lanes contained. Didn't do a good job of that in the first half. I wish you had a spy. You missed Overshown in that one. I wouldn't have been mad if they had tried Marquise Bell out, frankly. But adjustments were made. They were very obvious. The hour-long delay may have helped things. But I think there were definitely some positives on the defense there. Drew DTX. I can't stop thinking about that duo of Javonte and Jaden once Jaden is healthy. I want to say, Jaden Blue wasn't on the injury report. I know that Calvin Watkins said that there was some health stuff with Jaden Blue. He has, unless something flared up in the game, then he's healthy. He's not, either they're lying about the injury or something happened, or there just isn't one who's healthy scratch, which I disagree with. So I think our running game is S+. I don't know about that. I think your schematics, though, might be S+, which I think is I loved what I saw in that. We'll talk more. We'll have a video on that more in depth. I loved what I saw there. And you're right. Jaden does not get caught on that breakaway run. Maybe the Cowboys don't trust him to hit that hole properly, which I think you should be able to trust him. It was a good job by Sanders getting skinny and squeezing through, but I think you absolutely need to be playing Jaden Blue. So do you agree? Should Jaden Blue play in Week 2? I think it's a resounding yes. You guys can sound off for me in the comments section of today's show. Y for yes, N for no. $10 super chat, Chase Garvin. Let me get you into a raffle here, Chase. Boom, got you entered. Chase says, I think this defense needs to be a zone blitzing team. Linebackers were a clear liability on defense. Sanborn's not enough for man. Murray's indisciplined enough with his eyes. So I will say, the Cowboys straight up didn't run man. They didn't have a single man coverage rep in the entire, per NFL's next-gen stats, in the entire game against Philadelphia. It was all zone. But those hook zones, you still have to have good eye discipline. You have to keep your eyes peeled and set up properly. I think zone blitzes are a good idea. It's not Matt Eberflus's style. He does a lot of cover 2, a lot of cover 4, a lot of zone stuff, some man. I think he'll probably do more man against lesser competition potentially. But the zone stuff is fine, but you can't drop back too far. From Rich, Zadarius Smith just signed with the Eagles. Classic Philly, isn't it? They're always doing stuff like that. I mean, Eagles won, got more pressures than you. They go out and add the best available edge. I think you have enough edge talent, but you need to do more than just rush downhill every play. So, seems very on brand for Philadelphia. Go figure. All right, Vince, for which player would you trade the Packers first 2026 in order to get better now? The problem is I don't know who's actually available. If I'm trading a first, I am going to be pretty defensive of those picks because I want to have them. I want to stock my team with young talent. So I am looking at someone who is relatively cheap right now and is under a rookie contract, which really narrows down my field, and those guys might not be available for a first-round pick. So I would have interest. I would have actually quite a bit of interest on that front of like getting someone in there. If I can get a good, young, talented, cheap linebacker, I'm all for it. I don't know if that guy's out there right now, and that's what tends to complicate things. So I think, like, I am open to doing it. My gut feeling in the end tells you that the Cowboys are just going to go out and keep those first-round picks, and you might even be able to just maybe trade down in 2026 and get an extra 2027 first-round pick and own that draft. Coach Carter, I thought Sam Williams played pretty well. Agreed? I think John said he was the worst edge of the group, John Oning. I thought there was ups and downs for Sam. The pressures were good. He was good in that area. I think some of the run defense was kind of shaky. I think some of the gap discipline was kind of shaky as well. But I thought they still showed enough. I saw enough good stuff from Sam Williams to think, hey, positivity-wise, this is going to be a good thing for the Cowboys. Like, they're going to be able to have success and get going as the year goes along. But I don't think it was perfect from Sam. I loved his comment, though, about Mike after the game. Like, I'm over it. Let's focus on our guys. I agree. All right, shout out a player who impressed you in week 1. Let me know in the comments section of today's show what player, offense, defense, doesn't matter, can be a big name, can be a small name. Let me know what player impressed you in the first game of the NFL season. Jariah Jones, CeeDee Lamb couldn't catch with his hands. Should he consider using his feet? I think we can get off the jokes about CeeDee. He has to be better. We all know it. He knows it. You can't do that in those types of games. E&E Gaming. I think they make the playoffs at 10-7 after this performance. What do you think? I think it's extremely possible. Again, I feel better coming out of this game than I did, going into it. I think there was a lot of positive elements, a lot of good stuff I saw from this Dallas Cowboys team to justify feeling better about them as we move forward. Let's see how week 2 goes. It's a long season, a tough schedule, but I took the over on the win total months ago. I feel better about that. If you guys want even more Cowboys news and rumors, do not miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. It's youtube.com/CowboysTV. Free Cowboys videos, oftentimes multiple times per day, and at least one every single day right here on the Cowboys Report. TG Collects, final question. Any free agent edges or linebackers that interest you? I mean, if you felt like you needed to go get an edge, you could find somebody. Like, you could go, obviously, Darius Smith off the market as of the middle of our live show today, Friday. You could go out and pursue a Jadeveon Clowney. Like, he's available. Maybe he helps you out a little bit. I kind of wonder if you're okay enough at edge. The linebacker groups are, you just want to bring back Eric Kendricks? I would be surprised if the Cowboys did that. The other guys are like, does Anthony Walker interest you? Kaiser White got picked up already. Like, it's not a very good group. Devondre Campbell might as well be done in the NFL with what will happen. So I think if I'm sure the Cowboys will give us the Overshone's going to return. I might just play Leafau more. Grade the Cowboys against the Eagles. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know how you feel about how the Cowboys fared in this one. A, B, C, D, or F. Grade the Cowboys against the Eagles. C, B minus, B. I'm going to sip some of my not a sponsor energy drink here. It vibrates because it's yellow and it's all over the place. Olivia drop off at 9 a.m., so early day. So A, B, C, D, or F. Grade the Cowboys against the Eagles. This is the Super Chat. I'm going to get to William Cook's $5 one here real quick as well. Any Super Chat is a shout-out. $5, you are into our to-be-determined raffle entry for Week 1. Haven't decided what we will give away yet. I got to check with the bosses there, but we'll see. $10 is 3 raffle entries. Someone said, the old Ghost Energy drink. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So I like stuff that tastes like candy, sue me. $50 for a shot, $100 for a beer bong, and you go on our Helmet of Honor. Bunch of entries from Week 1, 6 of them. We'll fill up the whole helmet, Everyone who is on there will be entered into a raffle to race it and see who wins the Helmet of Honor. So get your Super Chats in, like this $5 one from William Cook. With regard to 2026 first rounder, seems to be they're going to trade down for a first in 2027, also recoup the third. Let me pull up what the... Let me pull this up here, because the Rams-Falcons, that trade was the Rams sent 26, which might be around where you're drafting, and 101, so a late third, a comp pick, essentially, which the Cowboys may or may not have that pick there, to the Falcons for 46 and a 2026 first. Now, maybe it's not as steep of a drop necessarily, or maybe it's even steeper, but like if you could do something like that, I would be highly intrigued. Or if you trade down from like, let's say you don't have a great season and you're finishing whatever, 20. You move down from 20 to the back end of round 1, or even out of the first round altogether, and get extra picks. Like I would have interest in doing that. I think that allows you extra ammunition, extra assets, and I don't think you own the 2026 draft. You can have your own first and a late first probably from Green Bay. Go Lions. We are anti-Packers fans every game this season. But you're not going to own. I think the Browns own it. The Browns are going to be bad, and the Jags might not be good. I think they own it. You somehow get 3 firsts in 2027. Yeah, you might own that draft, and that kind of puts you into a unique situation in the end. Despite the Cowboys losing in Week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles, I think there's actually plenty of good news and takeaways and things to be positive about coming out of maybe a more competitive effort than what most of us were expecting. So coming off that loss, we'll break down 5 things that I liked. But if you are excited about the Cowboys' 2025 season, show it by spamming me in the comment section of today's show. Type me if you are also excited about the 2025 Cowboys campaign. All right, so some good news here. I liked a lot of what I saw from Brian Schottenheimer. I liked it in the moment. I liked it when I went back and watched because I have no life, but NFL Plus now puts it up like within hours afterwards, so it's great. I thought Brian Schottenheimer did a pretty damn solid job for the Cowboys. There was a lot of different things that I liked with what Schottenheimer was able to do, but overall, I thought it was good. I liked what I saw from the first game of the Cowboys head coach. Now, I've seen the new offensive play caller have some success early. I remember Kellen Moore doing the exact same thing, but I liked what I saw. And the thing that I liked probably most, there was plenty of motion. There was actually a lot of motion. We'll get into some of the details on that here. But I have harped time and time again that I think motion and motion with a purpose benefits teams. And I think that, Schottenheimer said he was kind of, in his time in Seattle, Carroll challenged him to be more like the McVays and the Shanahans, and those guys love motion, and I think we saw that. Let's discuss Kevontae Turpin here. His motion rate was 53.8% of snaps. That is nearly double his rate last year. 14 motion snaps, 9 of them at the snap. Motion in general is good. Motion at the snap is even better because it gets the eyes of the defenders confused. Turpin's motion rate was the highest motion rate by a single Cowboys wide receiver in the next-gen era. The Cowboys' motion overall, 69.6%. Nice. Motion at the snap was 42%. Last year, the Cowboys, among all NFL teams, ranked 29th in motion at the snap. That 42% figure would have been 4th in the NFL in 2024. I like that stuff, and they were using it all the time. They use it in the run game, too. That big Miles Sanders run, I tweeted out the play. You can check it out on my timeline. I might even put it in the comment section. I loved it. It was perfectly designed. You have Turpin going orbit motion behind the wide receiver, behind the quarterback. Linebacker has to pull that way. You give it to Sanders. You have a guard and center pulling. You're not doing just a straight-up inside zone handoff. You're getting guys on the move, utilizing your athletic, powerful offensive linemen. You now have that ability to do that little swing pass, the RPO look, if you want to. If the linebacker doesn't go with Turpin, you can throw it in the flat. You have some creativity there if you want to offer that in the past. I loved the run game concepts. We'll come back more in depth on that here in a little bit. I love the Cowboys did not come out scared. Came out slow on defense, but the offense came out throwing haymakers. That's awesome. The offense probably should have won the game if your number one receiver could have caught passes better. It's one game. I don't want to overreact to it. I need to see it for 15 games. I don't want to Kellen Moore myself again. Where that 2019 campaign, I'm like, oh my God, this offense is awesome. And then they just kind of like stop doing the good stuff. I need to see it for a longer period. But I do think what we saw from Brian Schottenheimer in this game was a very positive first step. So, I want you guys to grade the Cowboys' new head coach for week 1. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comment section how you feel Shotty did in week 1. Number 2, we won't spend as much time on this since we did discuss it as part of our PFF grades breakdown on Friday. Check out that video if you haven't already. I thought Dak was good. The raw stats don't pop off the screen. 61.8%, 5.5 yards per attempt. Like, they don't blow me away necessarily. But I thought that the eye test, I thought the eye test was very impressive. And I think most of us would agree. He apparently he can tackle. He can play defense for the Cowboys. Can't catch for the Cowboys sometimes. 4 big-time throws. Highest graded player for the Cowboys on PFF. Highest offensive graded player in that game. It was Dak and Hurts, which I think tracks from what we saw live there. Avoided a sack, didn't take any. Was great under pressure. 9 of 12, 83 yards, 6.9 yards per attempt. Coming off the injury, and frankly, a bad season last year. I think it was reasonable to have some concerns about Dak Prescott and be like, hey, is he going to be the same guy he's been in the past? Like, can you get back to 2023 Dak? The raw numbers do not show it. The way he played, though, does show it. Today's show is made possible by Chubbies. If you are not ready for football, which you should be already, the Cowboys already played their game, Chubbies is here to help you with their NFL collection. Whether you're tailgating, grilling, riding the highs and lows, or the game from your couch, watching at the bar with buddies, whatever, Chubbies has officially licensed NFL gear to keep you looking like the ultimate fanatic. They've got bold designs featuring your favorite NFL teams, polos, swim trunks, gym-ready mesh shorts as well. It is fantastic, like the polo that I am wearing today. And folks, for a limited time, our friends at Chubbies are giving you $10 off with promo code CHATSPORTS at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. That's $10 off your order with the promo code CHATSPORTS at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. And yes, that is eligible for the NFL collection. So you can actually get $10 off on the NFL collection with promo code CHATSPORTS. Support our show, tell them we sent you, express yourself, and level up your game day wardrobe with Chubbies. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Some more good news. How about the run game? With the offensive skill firepower you have in the passing game, I don't want to necessarily become a run-pass team. Cowboys were not that, but by the way. But I do like plenty of what I saw out of this Dallas Cowboys team. I thought the run game overall was impactful. It was impressive. This new look Cowboys run game concepts with Javonte Williams coming over from Denver, he ran the ball well. It wasn't just him, though. It's not just inside zone anymore for the Cowboys. It's diverse. It's multiple. It's motion. There's pulls. There's gap runs / power, however you want to call that terminology. You name it, they did it. They gave the ball to Turpin some. The numbers, again, the raw numbers go, okay, Javonte only 3.6 yards per carry. That's nothing special. Miles Sanders, 13.3. Yeah, but he fumbled. Turpin, 2 for 9. I think with the ability to look at success rate, stuff like that, matters. Yes, Javonte only averaged 3.6 yards per carry. Well, at minimum, for example, if you were to take away the 2 1-yard runs that limited him, he's to 4 yards per carry instantly. The success rate for Javonte Williams against Philadelphia was 60%. 60. That's awesome. That's all relative to down and distance. A 3-yard run on 3rd and 2 is a great run. A 5-yard run on 3rd and 10 really isn't. It's different. And I think Javonte Williams was very successful on the ground. I thought the offensive line overall did a pretty good job. There's still room for growth here. by the way. Neither guy really had that much yards after contact. I think there's still some room for a bit improvement in yards before contact, too. There were a couple of misses up front, but I think the ground game against a great Eagles defense wasn't a liability. They actually did a pretty solid job. That's the type of stuff that I'm searching for from this team. So will the Cowboys' ground game, when it's all said and done, be better this year? Y for yes, N for no. I lean yes because I love the schematic stuff that I saw. Get your votes in for me, Y or N. Number 4, DaRon Bland and Trevon Diggs. I want to give both these guys their flowers. They should have had some sacks. Missed tackle is always an issue, but be better in that area. But you pay corners to cover. That's why you do it. How about the coverage stats for DaRon Bland against Philadelphia? 2 targets, 2 receptions, 11 yards, and 1 first down. Do you know who caught both passes against DaRon Bland? Saquon Barkley. So no receivers made a singular catch against DaRon Bland. This is all for PFF in that game. None of them. Let's go to Trevon Diggs. They didn't even throw at him. Despite him trying to bait Jalen Hurts into a throw with jawing constantly, which I do. I appreciate that from Diggs. I get what he's going for there. They didn't throw it their way. They took a couple shots against Kyer Elam with Jahan Dotson, and then it was all short stuff. It was all Jalen Hurts' average target was 5 yards. Non-existent. Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, the vaunted wide receiving core, didn't do jack. 1 catch for A.J. Brown in the fourth quarter for 8 yards. Devonta Smith, 3 for 16 and a first down. One of them, I think, was against not the top 2 corners. Those guys played great. I think that is a very promising sign as the Cowboys move forward. The Eagles took what was given to them, but Bland and Diggs, your job as a corner is to not give up catches. They didn't. Period. If you guys love the Cowboys, make sure you are subscribed. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV for free Cowboys videos each and every single day. Number 5 is the run defense. And this one does have an asterisk. I think in general, your defense, you can just make this way better in the second half. As a unit, you go, okay, well, they ran the ball 38 times. That's kind of a lot. 158 yards, 3 touchdowns, 50% success rate, 4.2 average. Okay. The running backs, though, were pretty bottled up. Saquon Barkley was not actually that good in the game. They did a good job bottling him up in a way that not everyone does. 24 carries, 96 yards, 4 yards per carry, 42% success rate. The Cowboys were more successful relative to down and distance running the football than the Philadelphia Eagles were. And the inside run defense was significantly better. 12 carries inside the tackles for Philadelphia, 18 yards, 1.5 average, negative yards before contact. Now, part of that is you miss some tackles in the backfield. They're able to get some yardage. It's noteworthy. You're going to hit the line of scrimmage. Only 1.5 yards per carry. The success rate is boosted by some of the tush-push plays. I thought your run defense was really good. Per Next Gen Stats, that is the lowest average of any yards before contact play for Philadelphia since 2017, a.k.a. the Next Gen Stats era. A year ago, they averaged 1.6 yards before contact on inside runs. To drop down to negative 0.89 is a really good sign. Final segment of today's show will be a mailbag. Get them in. Get your questions in via hashtag Cowboys or skip the line altogether via Super Chat. Spencer's $5 Super Chat that came in will be included on the mailbag, so stay tuned for that one. Get your questions in. Hashtag Cowboys. Skip the line altogether via Super Chat. This is the Super Chat menu, by the way. Any super equals a shout-out. $5, you're into our raffle entry. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 for a shot. $100 the beer bong, and we will put you into our helmet of honor. Put your name, initials onto the Blue Star stickers. We'll fill it up all the way to the top and then all the way around the side, not on the logo itself there. They are also peelable, so if you don't want them on there, you can just take them off if you win the mini helmet. Once it is filled up, we will raffle that off, whether that's week 5, week 15, end of the year, we will raffle it off. That is the Super Chat menu. Let's dive into the mailbag. Cowboys Report Mailbag coming at you. I am Tom Downey. $5 from Jason Phillips. A very simple thanks. Jason, I appreciate that. Thank you for watching. If you don't already know, we're going to do weekly raffles for every single Cowboys game this season. If you want entered into our weekly raffle, all you have to do is send in a $5 super thanks, and you are entered to win. $5 gets you one entry. $10 gets you 3 entries, like Rich Porter Trey, his $10 super thanks. Would it be possible and or worth it to trade for Hassan Reddick or Devin White? Maybe it's Chubb or Phillips out of Miami. Big fan of the show. Thank you, Rich. Good question. I like this one a lot. So in order, not in order, but in of all the players here, Devin White, first off, I think he's bad. Devin White is just Kenneth Murray, where great athlete, doesn't really know where the ball's going consistently, has been a bit of a drama queen before, kind of bouncing around teams right now. I don't think Devin White's an upgrade, so I'm going to pass on White. Hassan Reddick does intrigue me. I am curious how things will end up going in Tampa Bay. Tampa's probably going to be a contender, so unless you want to just wildly overpay for Hassan, I don't think that makes a lot of sense. The Miami guys are very intriguing as possible names because Miami has some edge depth. Jalen Phillips, they spent a first-round pick on Chop Robinson. They have Bradley Chubb. They traded for Matthew Judon. The contracts are a bit interesting. Jalen Phillips is owed, I think it's like $13 million in his fifth-year option. You have the money if you want to, but at that point for like a year, you're kind of like in danger of just spending your Micah savings on Phillips and Clark, which maybe that's worth it for you, but that gets a little expensive. Bradley Chubb did just get a renegotiated contract. I'm looking at this right now live with the Dolphins. They save a little bit of money by trading him, but I don't think they would have done that if they had just wanted to trade him. So you could try one of those guys, but I think the Dolphins are a good fit because they might be bad this year. And if they are bad, that's the type of team you should be calling about because you might be able to get a player on a deal in a sale. So predictions between now and the NFL trade deadline. Will the Cowboys end up making a trade? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Will the Cowboys end up making a trade? From Rich, #Cowboys, does better linebacker play make that pass rush look better? I think better linebacker play probably makes your run defense and like stopping Jalen Hurts scrambles look better. I think that the biggest issue the Cowboys faced with the pass rush was they just didn't capitalize on their opportunities. They had chances to bring down Hurts, and they didn't keep their rush lanes. They got out to the pocket. So I saw some elements of promise and elements of, okay, it needs to be better still. So I'm not going to panic on the Cowboys pass rush quite yet. I am a little bit worried about that linebacking core. I hope that they give Maurice Leafau a chance to play more. I thought he was very good in that in the preseason. When we've seen him last year, I thought he showed some real promise. I think there's more upside than the Kenneth Murray, Jack Sanborn, Damone Clark combination. I think that they can do more there. But I don't know if it directly impacts the pass rush, but I think it will help your run game and your defense as a unit. And that also might put your pass rush in a better spot. From Rogue Rays, I don't know. Can't wait for them to put BTA on the Giants next week. I hope they do. I have said this before. I will crash out if the Cowboys don't take care of business against the Giants. That is a game that they should win. They should not get ahead of themselves. They absolutely should win that game. We'll be live for it, of course, by the way. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You get those picks right, you could cash in. It is the best way to get action on sports in more than 40-plus states, including California, Georgia, and Texas, by the way. This is one of my Week 1 Prize Picks lineups coming up here with kickoff not too far away. Jaden Daniels, more than passing yards. Brian Thomas Jr., more than receiving yards. And then for Monday night, how about a Justin Jefferson touchdown? More than a half, so the 1. Go download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. Stephen Goltz, were you surprised by the small amount of penalties the Cowboys got? I guess. Eagles were a bit more penalty happy. I think it's a win. I don't know if surprise is maybe the right term, but I'm happy with it. I had hoped that they were going to be more disciplined. Hopefully it continues. I don't want to call it a victory quite yet. $5 super chat from Spencer. Very impressed with the coaching schemes. Defense played lights out in the second half. Saquon is a demon in the second half, and the Cowboys held him to just 11 yards. I thought they made some good adjustments on defense. The offensive game plan seemed to work pretty well, but I don't blame the coaching staff when the wide receiver, your number one receiver, your best player, drops passes. I'm not gonna blame the staff for that. I definitely liked what I saw. Second half wise defense, still some room for improvement. I didn't love just dropping zone, having no one on Hurts, but they stopped them for the most part. All right, appreciate that $5 super chat, Spencer. Thank you very much, my friend. I know the super chat keep disappearing on Aiden, so it happens. It happens. All right, Chase Garvin, a $5 super chat. Is it just me, or would anyone like to see Flanoy more than Tolbert? Better athletic potential, and I need some better blocking. Poor from Tolbert. Yeah, look, Tolbert didn't do much of anything, and that's always the red flag, right? The one time you noticed him outside of the check down catch was when he kind of just didn't do a good job blocking on the one little Turpin bubble. Tolbert was just a guy last night, and it's not what I'm aiming for. I need more out of Tolbert. I'm not going to get mad at Tolbert, but I do expect to get a little bit more from him in games and not be as disappointing. They didn't try Flanoy. You can keep playing Kevontae Turpin. That would not upset me, but I do think the Cowboys needed to have more success from Tolbert in the chances that he had. He didn't do enough, and that's frankly disappointing there. So I'm hoping for more out of him as we continue to move forward. So, Teddy Two Gloves. Could Dallas aim for a trade for a better running back like Taylor if the Colts stink? I think if the Colts stink is a very valid question. The Colts are in a weird spot where there is new regime now. The front office is probably going to have to coach and fight for their job. The coach is going to have to do it as well. If they don't win games and they trade away their best player, or at least one of their best players, that kind of becomes like you're signing your own pink slip. Teams don't do that. You can call. Taylor's not that cheap. He hasn't. He's gotten paid, but the next team, in this case the Cowboys, would owe him a pretty good amount. So I wouldn't presume that he would be expensive or worthwhile for a big pick, and you might think of a big pick. So you can call. I don't know how available he's going to be, but he'd definitely help your offense out in a pretty big way. All right, name a player who you want the Cowboys to add. Could be via trade, could be via free agency. Let me know in the comments of today's show. Z Williams, a $5 super chat over the fact that Micah is gone. Can't get over the feeling we could have traded some picks to get Kenny Clark and to pay Micah. Early pick, maybe. Kenny Clark was only available because you traded away Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was only available for the Packers because they traded away Kenny Clark. You could have thrown 2 first-round picks at Kenny Clark and gotten him. That's not a good trade, though. I would do that maybe for Dexter Lawrence or Vita Vea if those guys are even available, but that's not how NFL teams tend to operate. You could have found defensive tackle hope if you tried harder in March, in April. They didn't. The Cowboys love their picks too much. So he's gone. It is what it is. But I don't think you're going to be able to get Clark. They only gave up Clark to get Micah. From Cam Kramer. You like the approach to the pass decker? I think we need to get scheme more targets to the playmakers like Pickens and Turpin. I was fine with it. I don't know. They threw it to the open guy. It's not like they're forcing shots to CeeDee Lamb over and over again into double coverage. He had single coverage. He got open. You throw it to him. He should make the catch. If you want to get a few more touches for Pickens, sure, but he was still third on the team in targets. There was a lot of check down stuff to Ferguson, essentially. Turpin got 4 touches. That's probably realistic for what he's going to do, like who he actually is as a player. I don't have that many complaints about the scheme. Next week, maybe I change my mind, but right now, no, I'm fine. Marvin Gaye. Cowboys trade 2 firsts for Myles Garrett. Browns say no. The Browns, that's not happening. Now, if Myles Garrett hadn't gotten paid this offseason, we could have revisited that conversation, but the Browns money whipped him to stay. The Cowboys were not clearly doing that with Micah Parsons. If the Browns, I'm pulling this up right now, if they were to trade away Myles Garrett, they would technically save $3.8 million on the salary cap this year. Next year, their cap hit would go from $24 million for Myles Garrett to $47. A trade of Myles Garrett over the next 2 seasons has 60. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong number there. That's my bad. They would actually eat $67 million in dead money this year. A trade of Myles Garrett right now would incur $86 million in dead cap for the Browns. 0 chance. They will never do it. So what is your confidence level overall in this Dallas Cowboys pass rush? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Scale it for me from 1 to 10. What is your confidence level in this current group of Cowboys pass rushers? Daniel M. I was proud of the defense last night, particularly in the second half, but morale victories are not going to cut in the NFL. We definitely need to win next week against the Giants. Yeah. All the goodwill you might be feeling about, hey, we played better against the Eagles, it all goes out the window if you can't beat the Giants. You better win that game or else. Nate Rosario, trade Tolbert, free agent or trade receiver, linebacker, edge, corner, safety, fire the DC. I'm mad. Jalen Carter spit on Dak. Dak didn't do nothing. This is a little bit overreactionary. Like I'm not gonna. You're not gonna. You can find a safety. Like I thought your corners played well. Like Elam got beat one real time. That's fine. I would love to find a free agent linebacker. Like there's nobody out there that's good. The receivers aren't good. Like you can trade Tolbert if you get something sure and just promote Flanoy. I'm not going to complain about that. But like you're not going to fire Eberflus. So explore options. Sweet. Not that many guys available. E&E Gaming. Will Pickens become more involved in the passing game? I think so. I mean, the reality is, with the way that the Eagles chose to line up their corners on a pretty consistent basis, I'm double-checking my facts here right now. They lined up Quinyon Mitchell. I'm looking at the snap count details here. They lined him up on the detailed. Shoot. I watching live, it sure felt like they put Quinyon Mitchell a lot on the outside. They kind of split him 50-50, but I thought Mitchell was lined up a pretty good amount against Pickens. And CeeDee Lamb was open. And by the way, Pickens, we should give him credit. He drew the what? The 50-yard DPI penalty? Like, Pickens doesn't get interfered with, and now he's 4 catches for 75 yards, and we all feel good about it. Right? We have Cowboys videos for you each and every single day here on the Cowboys Report. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. Videos each and every single day. Fernando Navarro, is Tyreek Hill a possibility? Short answer is no, he's not. It's just he might be a trade possibility for somebody else, but the Cowboys have their top 2 receivers. I kind of don't want to put Tyreek Hill into a George Pickens locker room. If we're going to do culture stuff, that ain't Tyreek Hill, I'm sorry. So I don't think he's a possibility for the Cowboys, not after the GP3 trade. Last one for the great Duke Bothers. I want to shout out Eberflus. He's come off a pretty crazy roller coaster. Fired his head coach, DC spot in Dallas, loses best player, first half choke, second half good. Yeah, you can pick and choose the good and the bad from Eberflus. I thought it was definitely better in the second half. I think there's still some room for improvement, but better does help the Cowboys, and hopefully that kind of continues. I want to see some more stunts up front. I think that would very much benefit the Cowboys. All right, how do you feel right now compared to the pre-Eagles game? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Before the Eagles game got going, how do you feel right now about the Eagles? B for better, W for worse, S for the same. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Then we will get to Joker High Guys Super Chat. 79% voting better, 19% voting the same, 3% voting worse. So almost unanimous that we feel better. If I had done better or worse, I wonder how that other 19% would have gone. I think they would have leaned towards better. That would have been my guess. So keep the votes coming. B for better, W for worse, S for the same. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Daniel voting better. Jason says the same, though. Joker High Guy. I don't see the Eagles team being good. Like, Dallas Wood did outplay them in every stat. When Demo comes back, it's so over for them. I think this Eagles team still will be good. I think that's actually probably a good sign for the Cowboys. Now, they didn't have Jalen Carter. That is worth mentioning. One way they didn't expect it. But I think there's definitely a lot of positive for the Cowboys here. Folks, we'll be live for every single Cowboys game this year. Watch party on Sundays or Thursdays or Mondays. So we got 1 p.m. game Eastern time next week. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV.